I think it's absolutely true that it's not just for people to be left on their own with a particular problem and no one to turn to, but neither is it just to put someone's feelings and their reasoning completely to one side and basically say that because I think you should have a child, you are going to have this child. That also seems to me to be very unjust. And I think that we just have to realise, I mean, you made the point that women engage in sex generally voluntarily. You know, yeah, they do generally voluntarily. And I think most of us in this modern society appreciate that sex is generally not for getting pregnant. Generally, most of us will have sex for a whole number of reasons, because we're in love with someone, we feel close to them, we feel companionship, we feel passionate. There are a whole number of reasons why we have sex, which is not intended to end in a child. And the problem is that contraception is the thing that we rely on to prevent the pregnancy doesn't always work. Sometimes we don't use it properly, and we're in a situation where we look for a way to remove us from the situation that we're in, and abortion is generally seen by many women as a way for them to do that. Now the question is, for me, is who is in the position morally where they should be making that decision? Because it's no woman's ambition to have an abortion. It's an unpleasant procedure. It's an unpleasant experience. But when a woman's pregnant and it's not planned, she stands in front of a real fork in the road. A decision is going to be made. Either she's going to proceed down the path of motherhood and have a child, or alternatively, she's going to have that pregnancy interrupted and not have a child. Those are the only two options. Now the point is, who is it who makes that particular decision? And that's why my strong view is that it must always be the person who is closest to the consequences. The idea that somebody compels someone to have an abortion against their will is utterly abhorrent. And to me, just as the idea of someone compelling a woman to go through pregnancy and have a child against her will is equally abhorrent. The woman needs to make that decision. She needs to take the responsibility, actually, of having made that decision. As you correctly say, she's in that situation. So let's treat her like an adult. Let's allow her to make the decision about her future. And let's also, in doing so, touch on a very important point that Peter raised, which is about the moral importance of allowing people to flourish. Because believe me, when you have wrestled with a conundrum that you have, and you have weighed it up, and you have looked at the complexities of your own situation, and you have been in a situation where you're having to look at the shades of grey and work out where you fall on that line. So you're in a position to own and take responsibility for that decision yourself. Then that is actually when women really do flourish and are able to move on, learn from that experience, and actually develop through that. And that is what our lives are. That is part of our life experience. It's taking responsibility for our actions, it's about making decisions, and it's about moving on from that. And I think that when we recognise that abortion is about the ending of a woman's pregnancy, and when we talk about the moral permissibility of her doing that, what I think is absolutely imperative is that she is in the position where she is making the decision, and it is utterly immoral and disabling and undermining for her as a human being to take that responsibility and that decision-making capacity against her will.